college football's peek around the corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We are live. Welcome in to the house that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kirk Gowdy Avenue. Come on in. The water's warm. Everything is just fine. Everything is just fine. Wow. What happened last night? What happened yesterday? Holy smokes. George Kliavkoff saying a bunch of stuff. Brett Yormark teasing a bunch of stuff. Man, we got Portomania Part 2. Our last live show at Peek Around the Corner. We talked all Portomania. We'll do it again tonight. I got a feeling this show is gonna pop. Really, really pop. I'm gonna be doing a very short monologue tonight. You know how we start a show and I do this long monologue and everybody gets tired of me and they want me to be quiet and then they come in with their comments? I think tonight I will get the message real quick. I know the comments will be flying in. We're going to be talking about the bowl games, the playoff games. I'll be taking requests for singing fight songs of other schools. You know how that works. Everything college football we're going to talk about tonight. Jeff Brohm did take the job at Louisville, like us at Peek Around the Corner predicted. And I think Purdue's got some good choices. Babers, Syracuse coach. Is that going to happen? It could. So much to talk about tonight. I did a episode today. And it has exploded for the small, young channel that we are. We've only been around 3 months, 1,250 subscribers. Thanks to you all. It has exploded because we did an episode talking about Kliavkoff and Yormark. And that is what we're labeling the show tonight. Yormark, Kliavkoff, Yormark, tomato. We're going to be talking about it. Again, look. I don't even know where to start, but let's just start right here. Kliavkoff. I got some comments in the comments section. Remember, I tell you all, I read them all. I read them all in every episode. I don't want to be caught in my own silo. I don't want to be caught in my own information loop. I'm always challenging BTM and his associates. I challenge you. I challenge myself. That's how we do it here at Peek Around the Corner. I read some of those comments. But one comment caught me off guard. And remind you, I like when people disagree with me. But one comment said I was being a little too harsh on Kliavkoff, the Pac-12's commissioner, in that episode. I actually thought I was being too kind to him. But okay, I heard your call. Thanks for coming in, West Virginia. Appreciate it. Mo and Vision. Nice to see you, Mr. Buckeye. We got a Mountaineer. We got a Buckeye. We'll see who else comes into the chat room because tonight it's going to pop. It's going to pop. But let me get through my monologue. Then we'll get to your comments real quick. We got Richard in the house. Nice to see you, sir. Okay. George Kliavkoff. He talked about, again, he said something that just isn't, it's knowingly not correct. Months ago, he talked about how UCLA, if they left the Pac-12 to go to the Big Ten, they would actually make less money doing so. We all know that was incorrect. There was some walking back of it, but he did double down on the show, on a Pac-12, I won't mention the name of it, Pac-12 show out there, as you all probably know who I'm talking about. He doubled down on it. Bill Walton, UCLA Hall of Famer. Of course, he deserves to have his opinions written down for us to see and read. But in that opinion, he copied the same thing Kliavkoff said. UCLA would make less money going to the Big Ten because of extra travel costs, which is just profoundly untrue. Okay, I think that hurt Kliavkoff some. Some people disagree with me. I got it. But because I think it hurts his credibility. Not so much to the people outside the Pac-12, but inside his own conference, within his own circle, within his own circle of potential media partners. Now yesterday, George Kliavkoff says, and I'm paraphrasing it. You can go back to my episode. You can go on Twitter, Google. You can see it in a second. George Kliavkoff says basically, partial reason, not entire reason, but partial reason why the Pac-12 hasn't gotten their new media deal done yet is because we were waiting on the Deion Sanders to become the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. I'm paraphrasing, but you know that I know that you know, okay, what he was trying to say. And that's a comical statement. It really is. Maybe that term is being too harsh. And remember, the only person I really want to rip on when we do this show is your humble host, not anybody else. But that statement, it is so, and people have hit on him. I've been reading Bob Thompson on Twitter. Go to his Twitter page, Bob Thompson, the former Fox Sports president. Of course, he's much more of a gentleman than I am. He basically says that statement is not accurate. No potential media partner is going to give you more money because Deion Sanders is the head coach in your conference. No disrespect to Deion Sanders. No disrespect to any other coach out there. No disrespect to Colorado. But that's not how it works. Bob Thompson, go read his Twitter. He made a bunch of good comments on there. And then earlier today, John Wilner tweeted out, the Mercury News, great writer. I like him. I enjoy him, right? He gets a lot of heat, but I know he can handle it. He's been around for decades. He said he tends to try to clean up aisle 5 anytime George Kliavkoff says something like this. John Wilner put out a tweet and said something to the effect of, well, really what Kliavkoff was saying is Deion Sanders, because Colorado is going to win more games, that's going to help Pac-12's media value down the road. And then I tweeted back at Flug Empire. I said, well, any conference game that Colorado wins, some other conference team is going to lose. So it's not like you're going to get more conference wins. However, Colorado with Deion Sanders, in a couple years from now, we might look back and say, yes, Colorado might have a better chance of going 3-0 in non-conference games instead of going 0-3. And that will slightly help the Pac-12 value going forward, not now when they're doing their media rights negotiations. Then later, John Wilner, I don't think it had to do with my tweet, maybe it did, but he tweeted out and said, he cleaned it up again and said Colorado could be winning more non-conference games with Deion Sanders. Anyways, I just find that Kliavkoff, I don't know if he's comfortable in his position. He's a very smart guy. He's a very successful guy. Come on. He is. Everyone says he is. But he has said some statements that are so easily not factual, and everyone can see it right away, that it hurts his cause. It hurts the Pac-12 cause. It does. All this stuff has an effect. All of this. Back during the pandemic season, when Kevin Warren, the Big Ten president, refused to communicate to the universities, to the student athletes, to the student athletes' parents about his decision making, about how he came to the decision, about what the Big Ten was going to do during the pandemic, and then how he switched his mind back and forth. His failure to communicate, it hurt him. It hurt Kevin Warren so much. Glad to see you all. Medea, the moderator, you look good, my boy. Appreciate it. That's my wife, the big moderator, the little general, we call her. So she comes down with an iron fist if any of you act up. Kevin Warren, it hurt him so bad, his credibility. I can just give you my example. Okay, I want you to listen, and then we'll go on to Yormark, and then we'll go on to your comments. It hurt Kevin Warren's credibility so bad that when the money perch, when the boosters of the Big Ten, when they heard, some of them heard through a leak from Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, a leak. It didn't come from inside the Big Ten. When it was leaked to Money Perch in the Big Ten that USC called the Big Ten in attempt to join the conference, the Money Perch of the Big Ten, boosters, that's all I can say, they did the soft push. They wanted Kevin Warren to know that they knew, and they wanted to get it done. They weren't confident that Kevin Warren would pull the trigger, that he could swing the votes inside the Big Ten. I mean, that's why I got involved. That's why little me, a nobody, got involved. I was given the information. It's happened before. It's going to happen in the future, probably. Where we said in March 31st at Flug Empire that USC called. And we had some other videos along the way on Twitter. We didn't have this YouTube channel then. We put out a video April 4th. You go to Flag Empire. It explains why USC called, why this information was coming out. It had over like 250,000 views. And it was all based on the fact that people in the Big Ten were not sure that Kevin Warren had it in him to get it done. So this stuff, I sit here and I try to explain why this stuff hurts George Kliavkoff and it hurts the Pac-12. It does. I hope he can circle back, regroup, and not do this anymore. Because let me tell you, when he says something like in the clear, when he says something like, well, of course we wait, part of the reasons why we waited to get a Pac-12 done deal is because we were waiting on the Deion Sanders to sign with Colorado. When media partners, when Amazon listens to this, when the decision makers at ESPN listen to this, they're scratching their heads. They're shaking their heads. They're saying, what is this? So, anyways, that is why I make such a big deal of it. Now, let me get to Yormark, and then we'll get to your comments. Yormark, my goodness. Now, people are asking me, why are you making such a big deal, Greg, about Brett Yormark saying Big 12 expansion, it's going to happen in the not so distant future, right? Paraphrasing what Yormark said. Because Brett Yormark has actually established his credibility in a very short time. Now let me explain that. Brett Yormark, when he moved up the negotiations with ESPN and Fox, when he successfully led the ability of the Big 12 to move their negotiations. Remember, the Big 12 wasn't supposed to be able to negotiate on their deals with Fox and ESPN until another 16 months from now. But he moved it all the way up and did it before the Pac-12 got it done. And during that time, he was telling everybody, look, I think we can move this up. I think we can get a deal done. I think we can start negotiations. And people are scratching their heads. And then Brett Yormark said, in public, I think we are on our way to getting a deal done in the next couple of weeks, within the next month, with our current partners, within this exclusive window with Fox Sports and ESPN. He was saying that. Some people said, well, he's just a salesman, right? He's selling. You remember Joe Casano, Oregon writer out there, out there in Oregon? He made a whole article. He's always selling. He's just selling. He's always selling. Okay, well, that's what commissioners are supposed to do. They're supposed to sell for the universities. They're supposed to sell for the conference, right? They're always supposed to be selling, and they're always supposed to be closing. But what's important about what Brett Yormark did is he said, I think we're going to get this thing done in 2 weeks and a month. And what happened? What happened? It happened. It happened. The deal got done. Big 12 got maximum exposure. They got the windows. And now the Big 12 is attempting to go after Gonzaga. And I'm telling you, we've said this in a previous live show. We had an episode on it. Take this so very seriously. Brett Yormark is trying to get a fourth TV window in the basketball space with Gonzaga. And Fox Sports wants it to happen. I tried to explain that on Twitter today. This is up to Gonzaga now. Big 12 has put forward they want Gonzaga. Fox Sports wants Gonzaga. We were told this. We put it out. And now Brett Yormark keeps talking about it. Fox Sports just got the deal done with Big 12 for their basketball content. For the first time, Big 12, the best basketball conference currently right now in the country, without a doubt. And they're bringing on Houston, they're bringing on Cincinnati, they're bringing on BYU. Fox Sports wanted it. They got it. And they want that fourth time window with Gonzaga, just like the Big 12. So the tougher nut to crack is the football expansion. But you know, guys and gals, there's a certain inertia that's built into all of this. There's a certain shelf life. There's a certain windows of action. You either take advantage of it or you don't. This is how it works. The cloak and dagger, it's real. The window opening and closing, it's real. I've tried to tell you how the sausage is made. It's all real. Brett Yormark, the big salesman, he knows this is how it works. So he's pushing. He wants Gonzaga. And that may get a little bit of a crack somewhere along the four corner schools of the Pac-12. It may. And then you complicate the things with the Pac-12. They're waiting on December 14th. We see UCLA and University of California Board of Regents. They're waiting on that decision. And I'm just going to tell you what I believe, and then we'll go right to your comments. The University of California Board of Regents. We at Peek Around the Corner do not think they're going to block UCLA on December 14th from joining the Big Ten. We don't think so. However, we said this on the last live show. We're going to repeat it tonight. There are other factors in play that people, I think, are getting a little, I don't want to say the word nervous, but aware of. That's why Kevin Warren has been speaking about this in public. He just said it yesterday. Or 2 days ago as well, we have things in motion, I'm paraphrasing, that however which way this goes, December 14th, that we are ready to move, right? However this goes. And the reason why I think the Big Ten is taking the shot across the bow, the reason why I think he's starting to talk about this, but yet being respectful of the University of California Board of Regents, is because there are other actors about to come into the play. They're about to set foot on the stage. There's some state senators in California that we know that they are pursuing the potential legal action in the state of California to say, you know what? We're not going to directly block UCLA from joining the Big Ten, but here's going to be a state law. No public California university student athletes can be in an airplane and be traveling for their athletic games, events for such and such amount of time. And then in simple math, which would push UCLA back out of the Big Ten, back into the Pac-12. That is the real concern. on today's episode, this morning, we put up a tweet. The Players Association, I forget the total name of it, I apologize, but something along the lines of the Players Association, one of these organizations, came out with a big document. Go ahead and go back to my episode of this morning if you haven't read it, episode 112. And basically it goes down the reasons why UCLA should not join the Big Ten. It hits on many points. I don't think, again, that will directly block UCLA from joining the Big Ten. I don't think that pushes the University of California Board of Regents to block the big UCLA from joining the Big Ten. But what I do think, and other people are telling me this, is there's a growing perception that this just one example of a growing cover for some state legislatures in the state of California, giving them more political cover to get up on the stage and say, this is why we're drafting this California bill. And then how they would all vote on it in the state of California. Look at the motives, the legislators, the state and the Senate and the House and California state legislators. How many of them actually want UCLA to go to the Big Ten? Probably not many. Okay, that is my monologue. It went further than I wanted it to. Let's go to your comments. Again, smash that like button. Smash that like button if you like our content. Subscribe to our ever-growing channel. Share the video with your family and friends. Share the video with people like you who are passionate about everything in college football, who want to talk about everything in college football, because that's what we do here at Peak Around the Corner. I'm going to get to some questions, and then I'm going to quickly advertise the show on Twitter. But I know you guys have been waiting long. West Virginia guy, what teams will the Big 12 add? I'll leave that question for you guys. I think the Big 12 is going to add Gonzaga in basketball. And then football, they're waiting to see if there is that true fracture happening in the Pac-12, a lack of confidence, and a lack of media partners pursuing a decent amount media deal for the Pac-12. I think this whole thing, and go ahead and read Bob Thompson's Twitter page again. He talks about how it's basically silly. I'm going to use that word. I don't think he uses that word. But he basically says, if they had a deal, if the Pac-12 had a good deal, they'd be jumping on it today. They wouldn't be waiting till the end of January. Into January, into February next year. It doesn't matter if we're going into Christmas, the holiday season. It doesn't matter if we're going into late December. If there was a deal that he could put in front of the Pac-12 schools, a good deal, more money than the Big 12, and at least not losing so much in the exposure race versus the Big 12, they would have the deal in front of them. If he could get Oregon and Washington to sign the deal, he would have the deal in front of them. George Kliavkoff doesn't have the deal in front of them. So if this keeps going on, the cracks keep getting bigger and bigger. We had Tim Brandel with his opinion, talking about Colorado looking to join the Big 12. We're going to be just hearing more and more stories. There's a certain inertia that gets built up over time with all this. People are questioning George Kliavkoff. People are questioning, can we get a decent deal? Okay. Monovision, rampant expansion, speculation, cats and dogs living together. Yes. West Virginia guy, Purdue can have Neil Brown. Monovision, Garrett Riley would be the best available for Purdue. That's who we have as number one on the Purdue Boilermakers hot board list. Garrett Riley, offensive coordinator of TCU. We think that's the guy. That's the guy. Dan Mullen, you'd probably be interested in it. Babers, head coach of Syracuse. He's got to be on the top 3 list as well. He's got to be looking to move from Syracuse, looking for a job in a different Power 5 conference. I think Babers is a good possibility. Richard, if UCLA moved, blocked, is the Big Ten standing pat or add an odd or stay at an odd number, or they're going to add? I think they would add. Now, Kevin Warren sort of left that open, right, Richard, in his comments yesterday. He left that comments open. He basically said, well, when someone asked him if UCLA basically couldn't go to the Big Ten, he was asked, would that mean that you would add another Pac-12 school? And he said, not necessarily. So he's being a little coy. I think what Kevin Warren doesn't want to do, he doesn't want to be seen threatening the University of California Board of Regents, threatening the Pac-12. I think he has said enough to take some shots across the Pac-12's bow, but I don't think he wants to be seen as a guy looking over this process and threatening, saying, if you block UCLA, we will do A, B, and C. I do not think that's what he wants to do. What do I think the Big Ten would do? I think the Big Ten would expand. And I think they have it lined up. Would that be adding one, or would that be adding 3 members? I don't know. But there's no way they're going through this process, sitting on their hands, watching this from afar, and not having a plan ready to go. And basically, Kevin Warren said that yesterday. We're ready. However, which way this goes, we are ready. I cannot imagine the Big Ten not being ready to pull the trigger. You remember they've had talks with Oregon and Washington and Stanford. So it's not like they're going in blind. They know the value of the schools and everything that goes on with it. They know the perception that the Fox Sports holds of those 3 universities. They know all this stuff. So it's ready to pull the trigger. If I had to guess, and it would be a guess because we have no intel right now. We have no intel. We're waiting for December 14th. So this is a guess. My guess is that the Big Ten would take Stanford as USC's travel partner, include them in all the plans that they have laid out. They just replaced UCLA with Stanford, a private university in California that wouldn't be beholden to the state laws that California might enact to block UCLA, according to our theory. And then the Stanford USC value does not hold up to the USC UCLA value. Many of you may disagree with me, but the Big Ten and Fox Sports wanted all of Los Angeles. All of it. And they wanted to block ESPN out of it. You see? So not having UCLA, Stanford doesn't quite, there might be more that the Big Ten would want to do. And that more would be Oregon and Washington. That is my guess for right now. Stanford would be the 16th. And I think there'd be a push for the 17th and 18th to grab that Northwest market, the big brand of Oregon, the great research university, the great city, Big Ten city, Seattle, right? I think that would be my guess of how it would go. Stanford, and then probably that push to grab Oregon and Washington. Could be wrong, and it's just a guess. We have zero intel. We had positive intel. I think it was episode 52 and episode 55 of Washington and Oregon during this process of meeting with the Big Ten. Oregon is much more valuable than people generally on Twitter and in message boards are giving them. Way more valuable. Way more valuable. I know they're not much of a research university, but they're way more valuable in brand. And of course, Washington University, the porridge is not too cold. The porridge is not too hot. The porridge is just right. I think that's 3 Little Bears, right? And that Goldie girl, whatever. The porridge is just right on the University of Washington. They're just right. It just hasn't been the right time yet for the University of Washington. But that would be my guess to that question, Richard. Monovision. If UCLA is blocked, we are the Big Ten is grabbing Stanford, Washington, and Oregon. I basically went through that scenario. Again, hit the like button if you like our content. Smash it, because it helps with the algorithm so much. Please subscribe to our channel and share the video with your family and friends. If you want to make a donation to the show to help us keep the lights on, just hit that $ and do the donation. Some people have been asking me to sing a fight song of their school if they win the next game, or some other song in the next live show, but you're going to have a donation for that to happen. So thank you so much for coming in, but please smash the like button because it helps us so very much. Greg, are you going to enter the portal? If so, anywhere but Wisconsin. I am not entering the portal. I'm a Golden Gopher for life, even though most of you don't want me around anymore because I had to sing the Iowa fight song in a previous show. So most Gopher fans are absolutely disgusted with me. Tony, if the UC board is still dealing with the strike on the 14th, would that be reason enough to kick the can down the road again? Wow. Tough Tony with the tough question once again. I don't know. I haven't looked into that. I have seen those reports of that strike, but I don't know how that would affect it. I would say this. Of course, I said this in the last board meeting. Now, we covered the University of California Board of Regents, the last one, live. And we will be doing it again at Peek Around the Corner, December 14th. Whenever that thing starts, we will be covering it live. We'll probably start 15 minutes prior. I will put the information out at Flug Empire. I'll put the information on this YouTube channel. We are going to be covering it live. So if you have the time, come join us, put you on the reaction. I said in the last board meeting, there's no way they're going to kick the can down the road. I was wrong. I'm going to say it again. December 14th. There's no way they're going to kick the can down the road. Because they can't. Because eventually, all you're doing is you're kicking the Pac-12 in the kneecaps. And that's the conference that the University of California, Berkeley belongs to. Just give me 1 second here. Just give me one moment. It's Yormark Kliavkoff live show, December 8th. Lots of things going on. Yormark has Yormentum. Monovision, salesman sell, good salesman close, great salesman deliver. I'm going to repeat that once again. Salesman sell, good salesman close, great salesman deliver. Wow. Okay, let's get back to your comments. Thanks for letting me advertise the show on Twitter. We are live. Richard, any truth to smoke that Oregon and Washington would be considering move to the Big 12. I haven't smelled that smoke, seen that smoke, read that smoke. But I got to tell you, Pac-12, they got to get going. They got to get going. They have to. Because if they don't, some crazy scenario like that, Richard, could possibly happen. I mean, if they can't get a deal. Here's the danger for the Pac-12. Here's the danger. Let's just say that UCLA, they can go to the Big Ten. Okay? And that's the heavy chalk. That's the heavy favorite. That's the scenario everyone expects. UCLA to go to the Big Ten. Although it's getting a little crazy. We talked about it. Some state legislators could step up here. There's smoke to that. But now so the Pac-12 is trying to get their media deal done with who? Amazon, ESPN. Fox, potentially Pac-12. Fox Sports might want a little slice. That was reported today as well. Okay. And let's say the money is generally a little bit above Big 12 or a little bit below Big 12. But let's say it's above. Let's say it's $35 million per school. But what if the exposure is brutal for the Pac-12? What if most of their games are on Amazon? That they're the ones who are willing to overpay to get the Pac-12 up to $35 million a year. Let's say most of the Tier 1 is on Amazon. How does Oregon and Washington feel about that? I think that will be the looming question, Richard. And I'm glad you asked that question. Because it's not so much if you were Oregon and Washington, and you're sitting there and you're saying, we can make $35 million a year in media money for the next 6 years, staying in the Pac-12, or we can make $31.6 million in the Big 12, but we're on ESPN, we're on Fox Sports, we got decent windows, we'll be in the best basketball conference in the country, right? We're not going to be playing in Los Angeles anyways, probably. What deal would they take? See, I think that's all a concern from George Kliavkoff. And I'll repeat again. George Kliavkoff has not gotten a Pac-12 deal done because of Deion Sanders. He wasn't waiting on that. He wasn't waiting on anything other than getting a good enough deal that he could present in front of Oregon and Washington. But he hasn't gotten that deal done. He hasn't gotten that offer yet. He just hasn't. James. Ultimately, thanks for coming in, James. Appreciate it. Ultimately, couldn't the California Board of Regents' goal be to force the Big Ten to add Berkeley? That's a great question, James. And that's a question that we have received over and over again. And my answer, James, is this isn't going to work. I don't believe in that. In fact, here at Peek Around the Corner, let me know if you guys are getting buffer or anything, or if you're disconnecting. I'm seeing a little bit of action on my end. So just please let me know. We'll try to correct it if anything's going wrong on your end. We at Peek Around the Corner have received no steam, none, from BTM and Associates. And if you don't know who BTM and Associates are, because James, we get a lot of new people onto our YouTube channel monthly. Go to Flug Empire. You see the Twitter across the page. Go to the pinned tweet. You can read about the Los Angeles Times article they did on us, how we broke the USC the pack story, and you'll see in there a little bit about who beat them and the associates are. We received no information from them, any steam, that the Big Ten was truly targeting University of California, Berkeley. Now, there are some great reporters out there who've got 1,000 more contacts than I do. Great reporters, fantastic reporters. Brett McMurphy, when it comes to this stuff, you need to listen to Brett McMurphy at Action Network. Period. End of story. He says California, Berkeley was one of the targets, along with Stanford, Washington, Oregon, as potential expansion candidates. Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports did the same report. Same 4 schools, but we never could nail that down. So for us, it was always Oregon, Washington, and California. I mean, Oregon, Washington, Stanford. Of course, that's beyond the... Obviously, Notre Dame is always the target. But beyond Notre Dame, those were the targets. Oregon, Washington, Stanford. So we don't believe that the Big Ten would add University of California, Berkeley if to make it so UCLA can go to the Big Ten. I don't think that's one of the scenarios that Kevin Warren was alluding to, saying we're ready to go whichever way this goes. I don't think so. If it is, you can come back, James, and say, Greg, you were wrong, but I don't believe so. University of California, Berkeley, the number 1 public university in the country, or the number 2, depending on who you want to ask, between UCLA and Berkeley. An incredible institution. They are the drivers, one of the major drivers of the economy in California, which is, of course, one of the drivers of the economy in the United States. The people that come out of California, the inventions, Silicon Valley, Stanford, University of California, they are a Big Ten school in regards to how they are set up, an incredible research university. But there is softness in University of California when it comes to consuming their athletics, to watching their athletics. Pac-12 country, some parts of Pac-12 country do not watch Pac-12 sports. Did you see the list? We haven't done it in an episode. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. But did you see the list of those conference championship games and their ratings among the Power 5? Pac-12 championship game ratings were very low compared to the other conferences, compared to the Big 12, SEC, Big 10. And it shouldn't have been. Really. USC and Utah were playing Friday night, a standalone game. Friday night, alone. They had their own space. The game meant something to the college football playoffs, the rankings, right? If USC loses, it would affect everything else. It would affect the ability of the Buckeyes to get into the playoffs, and USC did lose. It also had USC, their biggest brand by far in the Pac-12 championship, and yet their TV ratings, it didn't measure up. And that's a well-known thing, truth, among the media partners, the fans, and anybody who pays attention to this stuff. Part of the reason is there's softness. There's softness in some parts of Pac-12 country. Not all, but some parts of Pac-12 country. And their consumers who don't consume college sports the way they used to. Now, with Deion Sanders going to Colorado, they're going to spike, baby. They're going to spike. And that's why we gave Colorado an A+ in their getting Deion Sanders. Regardless of how it goes in the future, we gave them an A+ because Deion Sanders is going to spike. Some places, Utah keeps growing. The Utah Utes brand keeps growing. And by the way, I love the Utah Man fight song. That's a fight song that I had to sing on this show. We got a donation because Utah defeated USC in that Pac-12 game. So, anyways, let's get to more questions. Charles M. Nice for you to enter into the house at the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kirk Gowdy Avenue. Charles M. Kliavkoff is going to be the ruin of the Pac-12. Well, that's what they said about the previous Pac-12 commissioner. Maybe Kliavkoff just needs more time. Maybe he just needs more time to get comfortable in his position, how to communicate. Kevin Warren, he struggled that first year in how he communicated. But communication is such an important part of being a commissioner, right? So, we shall see. Bob Dolan. Sounds like if travel restrictions get put on UCLA, it would force the Big Ten to add more West schools. I think that's the part of the story that for right now is being underreported. The potential travel restrictions getting put on UCLA by California legislators. I think so. And we're college football's peek around the corner. We're giving you that peek. I think that is what Big Ten is not scared of, but aware of. They're aware of this potential. And I think it's a growing potential. And it might even be a coordinated looming potential. The timing of that document that the Players Association, that organization that came out with yesterday, the timing, the release of that, it threw up red flags in my mind. Because they could have put that out 3 weeks ago. They could have put that out 2 months ago. Because this issue's been going on for 5 months. We're going on 6 months since June 30th, right? When UCLA and USC announced that they're going to Big Ten. But that Players Association put it out yesterday, last night. The timing of it. So I think there's some coordination going on. Other people do too. That's the story that we're going to be looking at. Not the direct block from the University of California Board of Regents onto UCLA, but the growing potential block or crippling of UCLA going to Big Ten by the California legislature. Tony, PJ got another year and more money. Good news for the Gophers. Got it done. We got it done. Oh, that's right. Heisman 57 is in the house. Mr. Hot Guy, I forgot. Congratulations to Mr. Campbell, the great linebacker of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now a legendary linebacker of the Hawkeyes for winning all these awards. He won another award yesterday. He won an award last night, being the Campbell Award. Jack Campbell won the Campbell Award for best linebacker in the country. He also won some other national award today for being the best linebacker in the country. He made that interception against my Gophers that gutted us, that kept us from going to Indianapolis. So congratulations to Campbell. Congratulations to the Buckeyes. And no, I am not singing the Iowa fight song tonight, even if a donation comes through. But Heisman 57, Mr. Hawkeye, does agree with me on something. I agree with everything Greg is saying about Kliavkoff is literally fighting for Pac-12 survival. All he can do is bluff his terrible hand and pray everyone folds. That's a great way of putting it, Heisman 57. That is a great way of putting it. He's got a bad hand, but he needs to work on his bluffing. on his bluffing. He can't come out and say, well, the only reason why the Pac-12 deal isn't, one of the reasons why the Pac-12 media deal isn't done yet is because we knew about this Deion Sanders thing for months, and I think that's just a really bad bluff. But yeah, I think there's a fracture in the Pac-12. I think there's division. I think you can put them into groups. I think Stanford and California are sitting over there in one corner. Oregon and Washington are sitting in the other corner. Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah are sitting in another corner. San Diego State is knocking on the door. SMU is in a cab ride going to the building to knock on the door. Fresno State is hanging on to the bumper of the cab ride that's taking SMU to the building, in which San Diego State is knocking on the door. I think there's a lot of division. In the Big 12, they don't have that division. They just don't. For the first time in a long time, the Big 12 doesn't have that division. There are people on Twitter who say that I'm wrong and that the Big 12 isn't aligned. There are some that say West Virginia would never cast a vote to have Gonzaga into the conference. I disagree. Brett Yormark, sometimes not everything is a conspiracy. Sometimes you actually have to believe what someone is telling you, that there's no hidden smoke and mirrors to their game. I don't think there's any hidden smoke and mirrors to Yormark. I don't. And if you've noticed, he's built up some credibility along the way. Bob Dolan. Bold prediction. Big Ten adds Colorado as its 21 member in the year 2028 after... Bob Dolan. Big Ten adds Colorado as its 21st member in the year 2028 after Deion wins his second national championship. I think I'm just going to leave that alone. I think everyone understands what Bob Dolan is saying. Tony, Utah is my pick to replace UCLA. Could be. It could be. We've often said Utah is a long shot, but they are a live shot. They are up on that board, on that sports book board. They're a long shot. You're going to get great value on it if that hits, Tony. But Utah is a long shot. Now, Utah, you could see them as a potential travel partner for USC. They have a lot more... Utah has a lot more value in their athletic department than University of California, even Stanford. Utah's fan base would buy the Big Ten network. They would consume it. They would buy it in their streaming services, or they would buy it in their cable package. But Utes fan base would buy the Big Ten network. So Utah fans would travel. Utah is now AAU. Utah's research grows constantly. Utah's brand is growing. And we've talked about this months ago. Utah and USC, there is a university respect between those two universities, unlike USC and Oregon, for example. However, USC is a long shot, but they are a live shot. And I think Utah is a long shot, but they're a live shot. And Utah, I think their best pathway is probably have a certain pause on Big Ten expansion, which we do right now, and have this get get the can kicked down the road some. I think that's Utah's best pathway to the Big Ten. Eisman 57, thank you for your donation super chat. Eisman, you've been very generous to this channel. Thanks for swallowing hard and recognizing my guy, Jack Campbell. I know that was not easy for you. It wasn't. It was a struggle. It was as much of a struggle as it was to sing your Iowa fight song. In fact, singing the Iowa fight song was more of a struggle because a lot of Gopher fans got upset with me. But here at Peek Around the Corner, if you donate like Eisman has, he donated. He said if Iowa beat Minnesota, that I would have to sing the Iowa fight song. So we had to. We had to keep our credibility here at Peek Around the Corner. No matter how much it embarrasses me, no matter how much it hurts all your eardrums out there at Peek Around the Corner community, we had to do it. Eisman 57, thank you for your donation once again. Obviously, Jack Campbell, any college football fan knows Mr. 31, Jack Campbell, makes plays. Tipped interception. Of course, he's not going to drop it. Of course, he's going to catch it. And then once he catches it, of course, he's going to go down the field. And that should have been a touchdown, but they called it back. That's the one break the Gophers got. Don't bring me back to that game. We're not talking Gopher Hawkeye tonight because I will just go into depression. We are not going to talk. We are not going to talk about the Hawkeyes' complete domination over my Gophers. Not going to spend another moment on it. Medea Flugar says, thank you, Eisman. Thank you so very much, sir. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on inside the Gopher by the Grace of God studios. Nathan, thank you for coming into the house, sir. I appreciate it. Coming into the house of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kirk Gowdy Avenue. Doesn't the Big 12 pro rata clause not apply to Fox? If so, could Yormark be using Gonzaga as a leverage to get Fox to sign off on increasing payout for adding the four corner schools? Great question. Great question. Great question. You're right. The pro rata clause does not apply to Fox. It applies to the ESPN part of the contract with the Big 12. But what you're asking, so if Yormark could get Gonzaga into the fold, because Fox Sports wants that to happen. We got that intel. We told you all about a week ago. This is a big part of this push. Is it enough to sign off on increasing payouts for the four corner schools? The couple ways I want to answer this. One is the Gonzaga thing. It's not going to be a moneymaker for Fox Sports. It's not really about the dollars and cents. Not really. Gonzaga is such a big brand, as you all know. Fox Sports would love to show some big fourth window basketball games, that slot. They want their consumers, the people, to get used to going to the late night time slot, to put on Fox Sports, to FS1, to watch Gonzaga versus Texas Tech. It's just part of the it increases the value of the Big 12. It might not increase the dollars coming into the Big 12, but increases the value, an indirect increase of the value. I don't think that would get Fox to sign off an increased payout for adding Four Corner schools. But you know what? I don't think it's even going to matter, Nathan. That pro rata clause, ESPN's going to get most of the better games of the Big 12 contract, football games, right? I don't remember what the numbers are anymore. You could probably help me. 4 out of the best 6 games, 8 out of the best 12 games. I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are, but something like that. So that's where the money is. That's where the value is at any media contract, is at top tier 1 games that ESPN is going to pick for most of the weeks during the season. And if Colorado, let's say Tim Brandle's correct, if Colorado says, hey, we can't wait on this anymore. We don't want to play on Amazon where we don't want 80% of our games not to be really out there in public. Here we got Deion Sanders as coach, da-da-da-da-da-da. If they call the Big 12, they call Yormark and says, you know what? We want back into our home, the Big 12. We want in. They're going to get that pro rata clause. They're going to get paid $31.6 million with ESPN and Fox, and maybe ESPN has to pay more of that. Fox will pay less. So my answer, Nathan, is no, I don't think so on your question, but I don't think it's going to matter. I hope that answers the question, Nathan. I hope I did a decent job of answering that. Mikey Nass. Mikey, nice to see you in the house, sir. I appreciate you coming in. Big 10 baby. Skull Craig, my main man. Nice to see you in the house, Skull I'm sorry I couldn't get your comments, Mikey and Skull earlier. A lot of comments are rolling in. Thank you, Skull I hope you enjoying my wife's recipe for salsa. Tony, couple more fight songs, and the record labels will be calling. Who says they haven't been already calling, Tony? Who says they haven't been already calling? They haven't been calling. Nathan, roll the boat, baby. Sky Yuma. Luis Carlos Diaz. Nice to see you in the house again, sir. We haven't seen you in a while. Appreciate you coming on in. Where will San Diego State land? Big 12 or Pac-12? Which conference needs SoCal more? Which conference needs Southern California more? My money, Lewis. My money, Mr. Diaz. If I had to push my chips into the middle of the table, here on the live show at Peek Around the Corner called Yormark and Kliavkoff for very good reasons, because they've been talking a lot this week, I'd push my chips in the middle of the table and say Pac-12. Pac-12. They got to get it done. They got to get San Diego State in. The pro rata clause in the Big 12 doesn't include San Diego State. Okay? Number one. Number two is if UCLA goes to the Big 10, which is still the chalk, Pac-12 survives. That's still the chalk, heavy chalk. They get their media deal done with those 10 teams. San Diego State, we know reports, Lewis, and you know this as an Aztec. There's been reports, San Diego State, they called the Pac-12, they called Washington president, San Diego State president called Washington president immediately on June 30th when she heard that the Pac-12, that USC and UCLA were going to the Big 10, immediately to say, hey, when you guys are ready, we're talking. San Diego State will be the 11th school of the Pac-12 with a bullet. With a bullet. That's what I believe. Now, who's the 12th school? That has a lot to do with, I think, the politics of California. I don't even want to get into that right now. I've talked about the politics of California too much on this episode. But just let me say, with that new college football playoff revenue, just pouring in with the expanded playoffs. And each Power 5 school gets the same amount as a base pay, and then you get some more per performance. That big revenue coming in, there's a built-in incentive for Pac-12 to kick it to 11 and 12 schools if they survive. And then take a little bit of that money off the top of San Diego State and SMU, right? Take a little bit of money off the top so the Pac-12 can fill in their slices among the 10 current members, and then San Diego State still gets the benefit of being in a Power 5 conference, especially into the future, and so would SMU or Fresno State or Boise State. My whole thing is that playoff money is so big, going to each school, just that base pay, that I think there's going to be people in California who are going to be pushing Fresno State. Now, they should go to SMU, in my opinion. That's the 12th school, without a doubt. But I got a feeling Fresno State is hitching their hopes on this California politics. So we'll see how it plays out. But Lewis, to answer your question, I put my money on the Pac-12. Buck Knuckles, nice to see you in the house. Once again, sir, appreciate you coming in. Amazon will replace the Pac-12 networks. Which would be better exposure? Oh, I see what you're saying. What you're asking, Buck, is would Amazon just replace the entirety of the Pac-12 networks? And would that give the schools better exposure for those events that would go on a third-tier platform versus the Pac-12? The answer is twofold. One is Amazon, those third-tier sports that would go on the Pac-12, mostly non-revenue sports, although you do have some revenue sports sprinkled in there. You do have football games, basketball games. It would get better exposure on Amazon because Pac-12 networks, as a stand, doesn't give these universities any exposure. But the second part of that answer is, Buck, I don't think Amazon's interested in buying the Pac-12 at all, or showing most of those events at all. Maybe I'm wrong, Buck. But this is how I see it. Amazon, when they go in big. They go in huge. They have just started to get into the sports space, right? Live sport content is king. Amazon went big for the NFL, for the Thursday night package, and they got it. And people are they're getting used to flicking on Amazon for their Thursday night football game, right? And then the Big Ten went big into getting or going after Big Ten content. Their offer was bigger than NBC and CBS. NBC and CBS got Big Ten content for the afternoon and primetime games of $350 million a year each for Big Ten content. Amazon offered more. But because of that exposure question, Kevin Warren decided against it. Plus, with the Big Ten, you got CBS, NBC, and Fox. They're going to be cross-promotion each other. And a report out today said that for an NFL Sunday between Fox, CBS, and NBC, there are going to be 2 spots each on those networks advertising the next week Big Ten games. So that's huge exposure. Kevin Warren took the money, took the great exposure, could have gotten more money from Amazon, but decided he wanted maximum exposure. So my answer, Buck, is I don't think Amazon is going to go for a conference network content. Okay? Just don't think. They're going to go for the big enchilada, for that tier 1 Pac-12 content. That's what I think. I think that's the only thing they will be interested in. So it's a tough choice for Kliavkoff. Take a little bit of extra money from Amazon, but get beat in the exposure game for now versus Big 12. Tough. Very tough. Mona Vision. Buckeye Nation wants Utah, not Cal. I think what Buckeye Nation carries a big voice. We know this. We know Buckeye Nation, their athletic director, I don't know who their president is right now. Do they have a president? I'm not sure. But they carry a big voice, right? They carry a big voice. So what they say carries a lot of weight. If they want Utah, not Cal, I just don't think Cal is in the running. And I don't think a blackmail will get them in to the Pac-12. Don't think that's not in play. That's not in play. But Utah is an emerging brand. And I love that song, The Utah Man. That is the best fight song I've sang so far on this show. The Utah Man is the best fight song. Better than Iowa. Sorry, Eisman 57. Better than TCU's, which I had to practice because we got a donation on it, but they did not win. Skoducky, let's be real. Los Angeles doesn't care about football. They care about football. ESPN's USC is a big brand, Skoducky. Again, this is the USC Oregon rival, right? Pounding away at each other in the chat room. They care. They care. That's one of the spots that cares about college football. Although, you know, they got that professional football in there, which hurts the college passion. It does the same thing in Minnesota. Minnesota, it's Vikings country, right? So it hurts. It hurts the passion. It hurts. It gets that Gopher fan base smaller. We don't rival Iowa's fan base. We don't rival Nebraska's fan base as intensity or in girth, right? So LA has the same type of issues, but LA is a big city, big money. And the Big Ten wanted all of Los Angeles. Big Ten wants UCLA. That's another undertold story. Big Ten actually wants UCLA with USC. They want to cut ESPN off from having the city of Los Angeles as Power 5 content. That's what Fox Sports wants. Monovision. Maybe Kliavkoff is on the payroll to bring the pack down from the inside. Come on now. We got to lay off Kliavkoff. Maybe it's a minor setback for a major comeback. He just has to tighten up his messaging. Tighten it up and you'll be fine. But no more comments like what you did yesterday. Danielle, Mr. Hoosier is in the house. He has stepped in the house. Danielle's the only one that was happy to see, besides Michigan fans, the only ones that was happy to see the Purdue Boilermakers lose in the Big Ten championship game in our live watch party last Saturday night. That was a blast. Thanks for all coming in. Jesse Wilson from the great state of Alabama, a Washington Husky fan living in the great state of Alabama. Evening, Mr. Greg. Jesse, now this is going to get Will Dude upset here. I see Will Dude's in the house. Nice to see you, sir. I'm going to pick Washington Huskies. I'm this close picking Washington Huskies to win the Pac-12 championship next year. Michael Penix is coming back, the great quarterback. I haven't heard differently, but I think they're two great wide receivers, McMillan and Odunze. I think they're both coming back, right? Let me know, Jesse, if I'm wrong. They're the running back that took over the job the rest of the year, he's coming back. Washington's offense is going to be dynamite, explosive. I predicted Utah to win the Pac-12 championship before the season started. That was the one conference I got right. I got the other 4 Power 5 conferences wrong. But I think I'm going to be picking the Washington Huskies to take it in 2023, the Pac-12 championship. Will do. Nice to see you in the house. Hope the Pac doesn't add anyone. Let it stand at 10 or let it die. Woo! San Diego State doesn't add value outside of recruiting territory. They average 193 viewers per game and can't sell out their small stadium. Will Dude is coming off the top rope, laying the major elbow, bam, right on San Diego State. Well, here's the thing, Will Dude. I know you disagree with me. I know you do, and that's fine. But the average amount of viewers, some of that, not all of it, but some of that has to do with the exposure. Where is San Diego State games being played on TV? Not at a good spot, not in the Mountain West Conference, right? So that's an exposure problem. And their stadium not being a fill out, that's something to say. But then again, who are they playing? Are they getting traveling fans to come to San Diego State to help them fill up that stadium? Not really. No. San Diego State, that Southern California market, if you don't grab it, sometimes defense is the best offense. You think San Diego State is not a good offensive move, and maybe I agree with you. But you can't possibly let Big 12 grab San Diego State. To let Brett Yormark get that 4th TV window. You remember, Big 12 has good time slots with ESPN and Fox Sports. They're ready to go with that 4th time window. You don't want to compete. You don't want to dilute the Pac-12's ability. I mean, you're going to be playing a game on Amazon at night versus San Diego State playing a game at night, helping the Big 12 in the Southern California region. You know, San Diego State versus TCU at night. Now, having said all that, I believe San Diego State will end up in the Pac-12. I really do. But we'll watch the story along with you. We'll see how it goes. LFG, nice to see you coming into the house. I appreciate it very much. You hearing any serious talk around any of the 4 corner programs to the Big 12? No, I am not. Not any serious talk. Now, Tim Brandel just said it was his opinion that Colorado would be going to the Big 12. We hear all this smoke and stuff. I haven't, BTM and his associates haven't heard any serious talk. But Brett Yormark has been talking about it in public. His attempt to get it done. At least one of those schools. And I think him saying it in public means something. Would I consider it serious talk? I don't know if I would brand it serious talk, but it's something. Because Brett Yormark, so far in this short tenure as the Big 12 president, when he has said something in public, it has happened in his short tenure. So he seems to be a guy who doesn't quite, even though he's selling and selling and selling, he seems to be a guy who doesn't really say something out in public in his attempt to sell without knowing that he has a good chance of closing the deal. So that's my answer to that question, LFG. I hope that that satisfies the question. Good question. Hear that recruits Big Ten has the NFL rub. Don't quite understand that statement, Momovision. Are you talking about the cross-promotional stuff on NFL for Big Ten games? You might be talking about that. LFG, be a bailout for what the haters call the crap 10. If Amazon makes $50 million per team per offers to the Pac-12 or after 2024. I don't think Amazon's going to be offering any of that type of money. We shall see. Look, let's take I'll take one more question from LFG, and I'm going to go into something else here. Cal, Stanford, logical academic adds to the Big Ten if and when they expand to 20 teams. They are the logical academic ads, no question about it. But do Fox Sports, would they support the move? You got to get Fox Sports. You got to get them on board. You got to sell them on the idea. And you're going to have to sell other Big Ten presidents on the idea. Yeah, they would love the academic research angle of it. But man, California, Stanford, that Northern California area, they don't watch college sports. You can see it in the ratings. Would they buy the Big Ten network? Would they actually purchase it? In Big Ten country, Big Ten country watches Big Ten sports. SEC country watches SEC sports. And Big 12 country watches Big 12 sports more than Pac-12 country watches Pac-12 sports. And part of that weakness in the Pac-12 country and their consumers watching sports is in that huge populated California, Stanford market, Silicon Valley, San Francisco. Nathan, I don't see Yormark adding Gonzaga without at least 1 to 3 football schools. Do you? Yes, I do, Nathan. I do see it. In fact, he said it. He said it yesterday. Read his statements again. Go watch my episode 112 show. He said as a standalone Gonzaga or another, I'm paraphrasing here, but a standalone basketball content Gonzaga or somebody else. And of course, they want football, right? Football drives the bus on expansion. But I do. In fact, we believe it's going to happen before the end of January of 2023. We've put that out in other shows, the live show. And the reason why we think this is going to happen, and we feel confident enough to say this is going to happen, is because of the Fox Sports initiative in trying to get this done. You've heard over the last couple of years, Gonzaga has been talking to the Pac-12. You've heard over the last couple of years, Gonzaga has been talking to the Big East. You know that Fox Sports has held the Big East basketball content. Well, things have sort of flipped here. Big 12, Yormark got that Fox Sports deal done. Fox Sports carrying Big 12 basketball. It's going to help the Big 12 exposure, the best basketball conference in the country. Gonzaga wants to get into a Power 6 conference, the Power 5 plus Big East. They want to get into a Power 6 conference to help their exposure, to help get them elevated, just in case they run into some tough years, like a Wichita State sort of thing. They want to increase their massive brand. They want their massive brand to play in the biggest exposure they can. In the world of NIL, in the world of where money is going to the student athletes, Gonzaga, big brand, wants to play with other big brands in the biggest exposure possible. And the Big 12 offers that because of Fox Sports. So we think, yes, we do see Yormark adding Gonzaga, even though they don't quite have the deal set up with some Pac-12 football schools. Because doing that just might give that little bit more of a fracture, that crack inside the Big Ten. I mean, the Pac-12. Grabbing Gonzaga might just move a few pieces around, and who knows what's going to happen next. There is such a thing as inertia. Inertia, movement. There's shelf life to these things. Windows open and they close. Yormark, as a salesman, knows this. That's why he's pushing to get it done. One of the reasons why we heard the end of January. I think Fox Sports would rather have Gonzaga basketball in the Big 12 than Gonzaga basketball in the Big East. But Fox Sports, they want a decision. Big 12 wants a decision. It's in the hands of Gonzaga. Skull Ducky, have you seen the NFL turnouts? It's more away fans than home fans in LA. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Los Angeles Rams. LFG, all the pack-hating narrative is BS. LA fans, you're spoiled fans. If UFC wants them to go in their games, becomes the new fad. Yeah, if UFC wins, just like everywhere else, it becomes the new fad to go to the games. Will do. Smash that like button. Greg's show is the best. Absolutely. Thank you, Will do. Will do's only giving me that compliment because I think Utah Man is the best fight song I have sang so far. So he's only giving me that compliment because I've given him that compliment. But there are a lot of other fight songs that we're going to be singing throughout the years here at Peek Around the Corner. And there may be another school out there that fight song goes over the top on Utah Man. But it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. LFG. Big Ten wants UCLA for the academics and many other reasons. Yep, academics, beautiful, great, sensational. And they want the whole city of Los Angeles. We talked about that at Flug Empire in the spring, that Big Ten wanted LA to be a Big Ten city. And that's what they got right now, unless something else happens. Please smash the like button. Share the video with your family and friends. Subscribe to our ever-growing channel. If you want to donate to the show, hit that $sign in your comments. Give up a donation. We appreciate it. If you want to donate to our show and say, Greg, you need to sing a song if my team wins, you go do that. And if your team wins, I will sing the song that you want me to sing on the next live show. We have lots of fun here. We have serious talk. We have fun talk. At this very young channel. We've only been around 3 months. If you want to hear the story about our channel, go to my Twitter at Flug Empire. Read that pinned tweet about the Los Angeles Times writing a story on us about how we broke the U.S. story. But we do a lot of other fun stuff on this channel. So stick with us. Subscribe to our channel because then you get notified of our upcoming shows. And also go to my Flug Empire Twitter and follow me. And you'll be, I put a lot of stuff out on our Twitter page about this show, about what the next show is going to be, when we drop an episode and all that. Nathan, give me your current Vegas odds for each of the following universities joining the Big 12. Gonzaga, Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, Colorado, Washington State. Wow, what a question. What a question. I'm going to do it. Let me give a drink of my sun-kissed orange zero sugar. This will give me the Big 12. Let's start with Gonzaga. I'm giving that a minus 150. Minus 150. So in Vegas odd terms, if you wanted to win $100 on that, you would have to put 150 on Gonzaga. So Gonzaga we consider a favorite to join the Big 12. Arizona, I'd give that a plus 750. Arizona State, plus 1,500. Utah, plus 2,500. Colorado, plus 2,000. And Washington State, plus 5,000. So the rest of them are not favorites to join the Big 12. Arizona would be the favorite among the rest of those schools. I think Arizona would be the second favorite of the rest of those schools. They go with Perez, Arizona. Utah, Colorado would be the third favorite. Utah would be the fourth favorite. I think Utah is more closely aligned with Oregon and Washington than those other Four Corners schools. And then Washington State, I think, is an extreme long shot. They probably wouldn't be on the peek around the corner sportsbook board as a possibility to go to the Big 12. $513 Bearcat, nice to see you in the house. Appreciate it. Appreciate it so very much. We want to get rid of the Bengals when they were really bad. But we can't now. That's pretty good stuff. Bearcat, yeah, because if you get rid of the NFL team, then your Cincinnati Bearcats, they become the main player in that really good market of Cincinnati. But the Bengals are too good, and your quarterback is going to be great for the next 14, 15 years. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. LFG, a year too late. If Washington two ace receivers leave, 23 Huskies will drop off some. Again, if you're getting buffered or something, let me know in the comments section. Maybe it's just my end, but let me know if you're being buffered or being stopped your video. A year too late. Well, first of all, is Washington's great two receivers, McMillan and Odunze, are they coming back? I haven't heard anything that they're going in the transfer portal. I haven't heard any steam on that. They both were over 1,000 yards receiving. Odunze is a big receiver. McMillan, man, if they come back with Michael Penix Jr., they're my team to win the Pac-12 championship with DeBoer, great coach. Jesse Wilson saying, I'm hoping all the receivers return. Would be a great future next season. Well, we haven't seen any steam on it, so we'll be watching for that story. LFG, the real rebuild for 23 Washington is on D. Besides the obvious shortfalls on offense that need to be addressed, O-line, wide receiver, running back. Again, going to have to see what those two receivers do for the Huskies. Buck Knuckles, great comments, LFG. Jesse Wilson, thank you very much. Buck Knuckles, at this point, I don't care who goes where. I just want it to be over with. Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with you, Buck. A lot of people agree with you. Charles M., nice to see you in the house. The politicians just want to get paid. LFG, I'm tuning in for the Minnesota dialect so I don't get fined. LFG, Greg, you and Nevada Buck of Ohio State college football platform were the first people to break the early speculation of the two. Well, I don't know who Nevada Buck is. Some people mention him on my comments screen here. I don't know who he is. Sorry. We did not have UCLA. If you go back in March, April, May, June, we talked about USC +1, +3, or +5. We had no information on UCLA. We knew USC and the Big Ten were in talks. But I do not know who Nevada Buck is. So I can't really comment on that. None says, nice to see you in the house. None. Go blue. Go blue. Go Michigan Wolverines. Where has that line moved? Has it moved? It was 6.5. No. Yeah, Michigan minus 6.5. Gone to 7? Gone to 7.5? I'm going to have to take a look at it. Monovision. Do you think the rumors... LFG, LA schools bolting to the Big Ten, props to you. We did not have UCLA. We had no information beyond USC. You can go to a Flug Empire, read the LA Times article that was written on us. But the UCLA communication did not come across our paths, and neither did anyone else. But then again, no one else was talking to the Big Ten. The other information that we could share during those months is the reasons why USC was doing it, because the leaks were coming out of LA. And we also said that USC called the Big Ten a loan, which came out to be true, but we did not have any information on UCLA. But thanks anyways, LFG. Monovision, do you think the rumors of Stanford adding a well-known coach like Jason Garrett could be the foreshadowing, an independent move, or making a Stanford a more attractive candidate for expansion? Great question, Monovision. No, I don't think it has anything to do with anything of that nature. Just like if someone asked me, do you think Colorado hired Deion Sanders to help them out and expand? I think Jason Garrett would be a good pick. So he would know that there's certain limitations to Stanford's recruiting base. I think he would know all of that stuff. I think he'd be a good... Is he the... I heard the reports that he's one of the 5 candidates. I did not hear that he was the leading candidate. Terry Aloysius, Himalacious, Connotacious, Sacrilegious Nord, a great Gopher friend, comes into the house and says, if I lived in California, I wouldn't watch much of any TV. Aww. Eisman 57. If UCLA is blocked, their replacement must get approval from Fox, NBC, CBS, all the Big Ten athletic directors, presidents really, who hate sharing revenue, and academians who don't care about anything but academics. Good luck, Kevin. It is good luck, Kevin. But according to Kevin Warren yesterday, he said, whichever way this goes, they are ready to move. Right? So they're ready. So they must have something lined up. If the impossible happens and UCLA is directly blocked from the University of California Board of Regents to enter the Big Ten in 2024, or all this talk is giving some state legislators in the state of California some political cover for them to move on a bill that would stop UCLA from joining the Big Ten in 24, I think the Big Ten is all ready to go. I just don't know what that would be. Buck Knuckles. Just wait until I get Greg to sing a Prince song. Well, Buck Knuckles, a donation will get it done. It won't happen on this live show. It would happen on the next live show. A donation and I will sing a Prince song. Hopefully you select a Prince song that isn't too wild or out there that I could handle. Mireya Flugar. If I lived in California, I will eat the wonderful Mexican food from there. Absolutely. Of course, Mireya, your food is even better. Your Mexican food, honey, is even better than the food out in out in California.
Aww.
Will do. Monovision, that's a great question. Still think the current pecking order to get into the Big Ten is number 1, Notre Dame, 2, Washington, 3, Oregon, 4, Stanford, 5, Utah, 6, California, 7, Arizona State. That's a pretty good list, Will do. I think that order is pretty good, except for if Notre Dame comes in at number 1, as they would be, number 1 target, I think you would have to slide Stanford up. But that looks pretty good to me. Buck Knuckles, because I think Notre Dame would act as they would grease the skids for a Stanford entry. Buck Knuckles, Arizona might not have the best football, but it has the best Mexican food. Absolutely. Will do. Is anyone else glitching? Yeah, we've had a few glitches. We've had some buffering. We're trying to clean that up. We actually changed our loading power, whatever you call that, just recently. It's probably going to take a couple shows for us to clean that up because we're getting more and more people on it, more and more activity. But yeah, we're gonna get that cleaned up. Sorry about that, guys. None. Please, Hail to the Victor is the best college football song of all times, hands down. It might be. It might be none. It very well could be. But here at Peek Around the Corner, we grade the fight songs in order of what I have sung on the show. So all we need is a donation to say, if Michigan defeats TCU, Greg, you sing the song Hail to the Victor, and I'll do so. But we haven't received a donation from a Michigan fan to do so. So therefore, Utah Man is the number 1 fight song thus far at Peak College Football's Peek Around the Corner. Jesse Wilson, yes, sir, there's buffering. Yep, sorry about that. Hopefully we clean that up for next show. This program is in constant development. We keep growing each week, and we appreciate you for all coming in our live shows. Please keep coming in. The buffering, we'll clean that up. I think we're about to turn the corner on that one. I think we were doing some testing even during this live show, so appreciate your patience. Charles M., do UCLA and California end up in the Big 12 by California politicians screwing up their Big 10 move? No, I think they stay in the Pac-12. I think the chances of the Pac-12 imploding are very, very slim. There is going to be a Pac-12 unless the Big 10 gets real aggressive and takes Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and then the four corner schools go to the Big 12. But I don't think that's going to happen here in the short term anyways. 6 years down the line, we shall see. Nevada Buck, a big Ohio State donor from out west who said both LA schools might go to the Big Ten on the Ohio State YouTube platform hosted by former Buckeye player August 21st. Thank you for that information. Appreciate it. I'll check it out. Nevada Buck has been mentioned before on this channel. I just don't know who he is. I do know, well, I shouldn't say it, but he's probably not in connection with BTM and his associates. But who knows? Maybe he knows some of the people I know. Opie, okay, just getting here. So we'll rewatch after the video is over. The Victor song is cold. USC's West Fight song is even better. Not according to College Football's Peek Around the Corner. Not according to this channel. Because we haven't sung it yet. we sang the Utah Man. We'll do it, and other people donated for Utah if they should beat USC in the Pac-12 game, that I would sing the Utah Man, and we did so. I did so. You can go back to the live show, the watch party, Pac-12 championship game last Friday. At the end of that video, I had to sing the Utah Man. That's #1 song. So USC, Michigan, I got to see some donations. And then your team has to win. Or for USC's case, I'll sing their fight song because if they win their bowl game, okay? If a donation comes in. We've got big bowl games here. Big bowl games we haven't even talked about. Orange Bowl, Tennessee versus Clemson. Now, in this bowl season, it's harder than ever, right? We got the portal. People are going into the portal. There are some games that neither starting quarterback is even going to be playing in the game because they're going to be in the portal. The Wisconsin game, for example. Who does Wisconsin play? Wisconsin plays Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's quarterback is in the portal. Wisconsin Mertz is in the portal. So a lot of games where quarterbacks in the portal, players are not playing, they're choosing to go in the NFL draft. So those lines that be coming out, man, they're going to be difficult to decipher. We're going to be doing predictions at Peek Around the Corner as the days go on here. So watch those episodes. We're going to be predictions against the spread. But again, it's going to be taking a lot of study, a lot of notes, because so many things are going on these rosters. I did hear a report or somebody putting out the idea, I can't remember who it was, about these bowl games being moved in the springtime. So they get played in the following spring. Like before, after the spring practices. So you would get fans to travel to watch their team. The wins and losses would count on the previous year's record. It wouldn't count in the season going forward. And that teams that qualify, they would get to play. Teams that don't qualify, they wouldn't be able to have this bowl game in the spring. So you get people traveling. You wouldn't have people going into the NFL draft because the NFL draft would be over. You wouldn't have players going in the portal because the portal windows would be closed. So think about that idea. Having the bowl games being moved in the wintertime into the springtime of the following calendar year. Terry Nord says the Badgers gets to go to Phoenix. Yeah, but Terry, they're playing Oklahoma State in Phoenix for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. That game starts about 9:15 Central Time. And if you remember the Gophers when they played in it last year against West Virginia, the field was a complete mess. The players, there was an injury about to happen any moment during that game. Now there was a crazy rainfall, right? But at the start of that game. But I don't like that stadium, and I don't like, Terry, that stadium that the Gophers are playing, the Pinstripe Bowl. I can't stand football being played at baseball stadiums. I just don't want to see any of these injuries. I don't want to see the Greek rifle, Athan Clackamanus. The Gophers finally have a quarterback with an arm. The Gophers finally have a quarterback that can run faster than Fatso Flugar, which is me. The Gophers finally have an athletic quarterback. And if he goes to Pinstripe Bowl in New York Stadium and breaks a leg because he's playing on the baseball field against the Syracuse Orangemen, I'm going to flip the table here inside the Gophers by the Grace of God studio. Okay, I'm done with my rant. Charles M. In the year-end meetings, how long do the Pac-12 presidents and committees give the Pac-12 and Kliavkoff to produce an acceptable media rights contract before they pull the ripcord and jump out of the plane? Well, my goodness. I guess you could say that the UCLA's situation with the University of California Board of Regents, I guess you could say that that's given Kliavkoff some cover, some time to get a deal done. But that's a great question, Charles, and I don't know when that time is. It's got to be like January, February. But I really think George Kliavkoff is not getting any good offers. Not enough to get Oregon and Washington to sign a grant of rights that has any teeth to it, that gives the rights to the Pac-12 conference, their individual media rights. That's just my take on it. Monavision comes in with a super chat. Mr. Buckeye. You know the drill. Hell to Georgia. Go Bucks. Okay. I see what's going on here. Monavision. Ladies and gentlemen, he's playing fourth dimensional chess. This is what Monavision does. This is what he's willing to do for his Georgia Bulldogs. You see, Monavision has been very generous to this channel. He has donated twice before. And I haven't sing either song because his teams have lost. So therefore, yes, he calls me Greg the Cooler. That's a gambling term. I'm the cooler. When I do something, things go cold. I make things cold. I don't make things hot. So what Monavision is saying is, Georgia's going to be playing the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think it's the Fiesta Bowl, right? I don't know. I can't keep anything straight anymore. It's the playoff game. Who knows? Okay. And what Monavision is saying is, if Georgia win, Peach Bowl. Thanks, Monavision. Peach Bowl. Bulldogs versus Buckeyes in the Peach Bowl. If Georgia wins, if they beat the Buckeyes, I have to sing the Hell to Georgia fight song at the end of the Georgia-Ohio State football game. Okay? But because I never seem to sing a song that he puts up there when he donates to the channel, he thinks I'm the cooler, and that now the Buckeyes are going to beat the Bulldogs. You see how Monavision's doing this? It's fourth dimensional chess. What he's doing is he's ensuring the Ohio State Buckeyes will defeat the Georgia Bulldogs. But if I am not the cooler that December 31st, Monavision, Mr. Buckeye, if I am not the cooler, if the Bulldogs do beat the Buckeyes, I will sing Hell to Georgia because of your generous donation. And by the way, December 31st, it's going to be a marathon here at Peek Around the Corner. College football is Peek Around the Corner. We're going to be doing a watch party for both semifinal games. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU. So join us for that marathon. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. So come on in. Medea says, thank you, Monavision. Yes, thank you, Monavision, for your generosity. All joking aside, Greg the Cooler. Hopefully I'm cool for you. Hopefully I am Greg the Cooler come the 31st so your Buckeyes can win that game. Monavision says it's the Peach Bowl. Monavision, it's a win-win. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your donation. Charles M. So even California Berkeley is too woke, even for the Big Ten. I don't want to get into that. I will say, though, that California Berkeley, if this is a blackmail attempt, and it's not, But if it is, it's not going to work. This just isn't going to work. Charles M. Are the Arizona schools Big Ten targets? No, they're not. Although I would say that Arizona State is a super long shot, but a live shot. I would have them on the board, a longer shot than Utah. Utah would be favored over Arizona State. Arizona State's not an AAU school. They are a growing research school, but they're not AAU. It doesn't completely cancel them out. Of course, there's a lot of Big Ten alumni that live in Arizona in the Phoenix area. Terry Nord will tell you that here in the chat room. Kevin Warren has a special relationship with Arizona State. He went there. He graduated there. His family still lives there. Arizona State, they got themselves a hockey program. They got a big population, growing population. They're not quite the academic school that the Big Ten presidents would want. So they're a super long shot, but a live shot. University of Arizona is a bigger research school, AAU. However, they don't seem to consume or watch the sports like Arizona State. I would put Arizona State ahead of Arizona in the hierarchy of Big Ten targets, but they're both really super long shots at this point. So, I think we're going to wrap it up for a live show this evening. We've been on for 2 hours. We've talked about everything here on this channel. Thank you for the donations from Eisman 57, Mona Vision. I will sing Hell to Georgia when it gets to that point if they beat the Buckeyes. I know you're hoping I'm Greg the Cooler once again. Follow us this week. A lot of things happening. Lots of stuff happening where I'm going to be coming out with my predictions on some of the early bowl games, especially that Las Vegas Bowl, December 17th. So watch for those in the episodes. Kliavkoff, he's not done talking. Yormark, he's not done talking. Kevin Warren's not done talking. Sankey doesn't have to talk. And Phillips, I don't think he knows where the microphone is, the ACC commissioner. We're probably doing a live show Sunday evening. We're definitely going to be doing a live show at Peek Around the Corner on December 14th. During the early morning hours or during the noon hour, whenever that University of California Board of Regents meeting is taking place. I can't show it on the YouTube channel, but you can watch along. I'm going to be watching it here. And I'm going to be giving you my reactions during the meeting, the epic meeting in San Francisco. University of California Board of Regents deciding the fate of UCLA. Can they enter the Big Ten in 2024? Will University of California Board of Regents do nothing to UCLA? Or will they toll tax them, cripple them to UCLA can't move in the Big Ten? Or will they outright block UCLA? Or there's one other option, and we think it's a growing option at Peek Around the Corner. Or does the University of California Board of Regents and this player association that just came out with a document saying UCLA should not move to the Big Ten, the document that came out yesterday, do these things give cover to a couple state senators of the state of California to pursue a pathway for legislation that would cripple, that would stop UCLA's ability to move to the Big Ten? We're going to be covering that live on Wednesday, so join us at Peek Around the Corner if you can. And if you can't, watch the show afterwards. You'll find it on our YouTube channel at Peek Around the Corner. Again, until next time, from all of us at Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please, please, you all take care of each other. Thank you so very much.